Growing concerns about Chinese competition are placing a lot of pressure on U.S. lawmakers and automakers. China, a nation known for its stunning beaches and advantageous trading location close to the United States, has become a major concern for many policymakers due to its increasingly obvious dominance in the global automotive industry. Mexico has become a crucial link in this economic conflict as China has designated Mexico as a strategic export market, making it a top destination for Chinese investments and goods. Meanwhile, U.S. tariffs on China, which were supposed to give the U.S. a competitive edge, have had unexpected consequences and have instead pushed Mexico into China's embrace, weakening U.S. influence over one of its most significant trading partners and increasing the risk that China will shift the North American economic balance. In today's video, we discuss how this situation affects not only our bilateral relations with Mexico but also the economic dynamics of the entire region. Before we get into the main content, don't forget to hit like and subscribe so you don't miss any videos from Top Wonders. Let's examine China's $81.5 billion deal with Mexico and discover what makes it so shocking to the United States. Now, let's begin with the music. Investigation. A direct air cargo route between Shenzhen, China, and Mexico City, Mexico, was inaugurated in December 2023, reflecting a surge in Chinese investments in Mexico. However, the United States has not welcomed this development, with some U.S. voices arguing that it is a means for China to cheat and engage in unfair competition as businesses. The Biden administration has imposed a 100% tariff on electric vehicles from China and a 25% tariff on imports of steel and aluminum from the nation, marking a significant shift in North American trade dynamics. Production may be moved outside of the U.S. to cut costs, and then products from Mexico may be re-exported to the U.S. to avoid tariffs. The rapidly expanding trade relationship between China and Mexico has changed the regional trade balance. In 2023, bilateral trade between the two countries reached $10.2 billion, making China Mexico's second-largest trading partner. Mexico's exports to China totaled $8,156 billion, with a focus on goods like electronics, $2,233 billion, machinery, $1,367 billion, vehicles, $1,017 billion, plastics, $314 billion, furniture, and lighting, $2 billion. In contrast, Mexico's exports to China totaled $8.74 billion, with key goods like electronics $582 billion, ores, slag, and ash $4.8 billion. The trade growth rate between the two countries in 2023 was impressive, peaking in August at $9.55 billion, a 4.8% increase compared to the same period the previous year. These figures highlight significant changes in the regional trade balance, particularly that Mexico has emerged as a major market for Chinese cars with $22.68 billion in optical and medical instruments, $1.05 billion in vehicles, and $0.9 billion in mineral fuels. In 2023, imports worth $4.6 billion will surpass $4.4 billion from U.S. companies. In 2023, Chinese manufacturers produced 1 out of every 10 cars sold in Mexico, far more than any other nation. Even consumers who were initially wary of electric vehicles have been drawn to them by the affordability of Chinese automobiles like the BYD's Dolphin Mini, which retails for about $221,000. However, this growth has increased trade tensions between the U.S. and China, with the U.S. accusing Chinese companies of using Mexico as a backdoor to avoid tariffs. The U.S. has tightened import regulations to prevent trade fraud and increased scrutiny of Mexican imports, particularly in August 2024 when Mexican authorities seized over 1.4 million Chinese goods due to documentation issues. The USMCA agreement has also become a focal point in these tensions, requiring imported steel to be produced in North America to avoid tariffs that are obviously intended to reduce dependency on China. Despite these difficulties, economic ties between China and Mexico continue to grow, with China viewing Mexico as a strategic gateway to North America and Mexico benefiting from large investments in infrastructure and industry. In 2023, China's foreign direct investment, FDI, into Mexico totaled $5.6 billion, up sharply from $267 million in 2018. This was the highest level in 13 years, and there were 2.8 times as many new Chinese businesses in Mexico. The Ministry of Economy of Nueva Leon, which is in northern Mexico, announced that it received a $13 billion investment between October 2021 and April 2023, creating 88,000 new jobs among foreign investments in the state. This is a glaring example of China's growing commitment to this market. Chinese companies made up more than 30% of the total, second only to the US at 47%. In 2023 alone, China gave $3.5 billion to original equipment manufacturers, OEMs, in Mexico's automotive sector, concentrating on foundational industries but not just basic manufacturing. Investments were concentrated in basic manufacturing industries, specifically in the assembly of automotive parts and electronic devices. Chinese tech companies in Mexico increased their operations by 39% in the last 2 years, suggesting that there may be a shift in the future towards more sophisticated production, even though high-tech investment currently only makes up 3% of the industrial space that China and Mexico control. This number is anticipated to rise as Chinese businesses look to increase their market share in North America. A key component of this investment is the automotive sector. Trend, especially since Tesla intends to construct a factory in Mexico in 2023, drawing in a sizable number of suppliers, many of whom currently produce parts or raw materials for Tesla in China. Chinese auto parts producers are quickly setting up shop on the outskirts of Monterrey, where Tesla intends to locate its plant. Important agreements between China and Mexico are bolstering this expanding economic partnership. The Double Taxation Avoidance Agreement, which has been in effect since 2006, prohibits businesses and individuals from paying taxes on the same income in both countries. Additionally, the Bilateral Investment Treaty, which was signed in 2008 and has been in effect since 2009, offers a legal framework for investment protection and dispute resolution, greatly boosting investor confidence for Chinese companies entering the Mexican market. This agreement facilitates cross-border business operations by establishing the idea of a permanent establishment for tax purposes and applying to income taxes. Additionally, China and Mexico are members of the World Trade Organization, WTO, taking part in a number of important multilateral agreements, including the General Agreement on Trade and Services, the Agreement on Trade-Related Investment Measures, and the Agreement on Trade-Related Aspects of Intellectual Property Rights. Offering a more comprehensive legal framework for global investment and trade. Global supply chain restructuring is the backdrop for the growing economic ties between China and Mexico, which many businesses view as close production reshoring or shoring to diversify. The China Plus One strategy is being used. Supply chains influenced by elements like China's growing labor costs, trade disputes and disruptions with China brought on by the COVID-19 pandemic. Mexico has emerged as a desirable destination for businesses wishing to relocate or diversify their production due to its close proximity to the United States and lower operating costs. Jordan Dart, president of Redwood Mexico, a cross-border logistics company, observed that more and more Chinese businesses are relocating their production facilities to Mexico. These businesses import raw materials and components from China, manufacture completed goods in Mexico, and then export them to the U.S., taking advantage of the USMCA agreement. This tactic enables businesses to alter the product's economic nationality, also known as their place of origin. According to Mary Lovely, a senior fellow at the Peterson Institute for International Economics, this change is not just happening to Chinese businesses. The CEO and founder of Henko Logistics, Simon Cohen, noted that numerous European businesses that previously solely produced in China are now also increasing their output in Mexico. A strategic shift in global manufacturing operations is reflected in this trend, which is being driven by the China Plus One strategy. Significant figures from January to July 2024 show that the volume of containers from China to Mexico increased by 26.2% compared to the same period the previous year. building on the robust growth of 33% in 2023, according to data from the freight transportation analytics company Zanita. From January to August 2024, container trade between the two countries increased by 22% compared to the same period in 2023, highlighting Mexico's growing importance in the global supply chain. May 2024 recorded the highest container volume from China to Mexico, with June trailing by only a few hundred containers, highlighting a stable and robust trade trend between the two nations. This is also the first time in history that container trade has maintained record high levels for 18 consecutive months. This trend is in contrast to the slowdown in container trade from China to the US, which indicates a major change in business trade strategies, particularly as Mexico becomes a more important destination. Additionally, Mexico reached its highest export volume to the US from April to June 2024, indicating the country's increasing influence from the region. Free trade agreements that have solidified Mexico's strategic position are intimately related to this progress. The United States and the North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA, which went into effect in 1994. Mexico. The majority of the tariffs between the three countries have been removed by the Canada-USMCA agreement, allowing Mexico to draw in foreign companies and investors. There are currently 13 free trade agreements between Mexico and 50 nations, including important allies like the European Union and the European Free Trade Association. Japan, Israel, 10 Latin American nations and countries that are members of the Pacific Alliance alongside Chile and take part in the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership, CPPP, Peru and Colombia. Mexico continues to solidify its standing as a hub for regional trade, drawing more attention from foreign partners. Amidst crucial geopolitical changes, China and Mexico's economic ties have grown significantly. John Peck, vice president of consulting at G Worldwide, claims that new tariffs on China and worries about possible production restrictions in Mexico have taken center stage in U.S. political discussions, particularly during former President Donald Trump's campaign. Trump's administration increased trade restrictions, which caused significant changes in the trade relations with China while carrying on many of his predecessor's policies. President Joe Biden has also strengthened the defense of homegrown industries like semiconductors, electric cars, and medical technologies while enacting more trade restrictions in specific sectors. Escalating the level of trade competition. There are many chances for cooperation in the fields of new energy and green technology thanks to China and Mexico's economic partnership. Mexico's advantageous geographic location and wealth of natural resources complement China's proficiency in solar, wind, and battery storage, allowing in order to promote sustainable development. Wind turbines, solar panels, and advanced energy storage solutions are produced jointly. Another area of interest is the electric vehicle, EV, manufacturing sector, where Chinese companies such as BYD are growing in Mexico with an eye towards both the local market and export prospects to the US and other South American nations. This illustrates the strategic vision of Chinese manufacturers to capitalize on Mexico's geopolitical advantages and market opportunities in spite of trade obstacles and geopolitical factors. Despite challenges, analysts like Cass Zhang Shiku and Shushi Chong are hopeful about the future of collaboration between China and Mexico. They think the two countries will keep fortifying their strategic alliance. Thank you for viewing the video. Meanwhile, analyst Enrique Dussel-Peters expressed hope that Mexico would implement long-term, effective measures to address challenges and ensure its growing role in the global trade network. Please remember to leave a comment below this video so that we can talk about it together. If you liked this content and would like to learn more about other subjects, please like the video and subscribe to the Current Affairs channel to receive updates on the newest videos. See you on the next exploration journey.